So for preppers, off-gridders, survivalists, bushcrafters, anyone that wants to start getting into like wild camping or developing like wilderness survival skills, a good knife is a key piece of equipment. And I just wanted to talk a bit today about my thoughts on the UK legal carry system. And I say these are my views and my understanding. I am not an expert on this, so I shall link you to the awesome Mad Dog Survival, who does an absolutely brilliant video, but will explain it way better than I could ever attempt to. So yeah, go watch him. Let him do the legalities explaining system, and then you can hear my views on it. So basically, the quick rundown is the blade has to be UK legal carry. The blade has to be under 3 inches, so that's not very long. And it also has to be a non-locked folding blade, which I don't like. I don't find them safe. So this is my opinel knife. I think most people will have one of these. They are beautiful. I've had this for years. It's my my go-to gardening knife, and it is a folding blade, as you can see, but it does have a lock on it, so it will stay in place. So if I'm quitting down and it's locked, it stays in place. If I'm quitting up and it's locked, it stays in place. If I wanted to have a UK legal carry knife instead of a non-UK legal carry knife, I could just remove the lock on this. But I would find that quite dangerous because, I mean, cutting down, you're fine. But if you slip or you go up, then the knife will come back at you pretty quick and fold back right into position. And a lot of the knives that you're kind of seeing on the market as a result of the new UK legal carry laws are 3-inch blades, but they're massive and they're hench and they're not locked. And I find that, I mean, put in the comments, but I find that quite a dodgy kind of thing. I'll link you to my knife video. It's what I look for in getting a bushcraft knife and what I'd look for in a good bushcraft knife. And to be honest, I didn't include folding knives in that. I didn't even think to. It didn't cross my mind because, I mean, they do have their use, but I will always just recommend what I use, and everything, like I've said before, is just my personal experience of being an off-grid prepper. But yeah, I was very, very surprised. I mean, you kind of think, so this is the lovely Mora Eldris. It's got a blade, but yeah, this blade definitely matches up to be well below the 3 inches. I would consider this a safer thing to purchase and have as your everyday carry as a knife that is like just has no lock on it, that has no stability, especially when you are getting these bigger knives. I mean, I know they have been designed so that they're not going to snap back, but I just kind of think that it's insane that we've got like a whole range of people designing knives that in reality like aren't really the most practical for the job just to meet the specifications. So obviously, if you live off grid or you're bushcrafting, then knives are classed as tools and you are legally allowed to carry them as tools. So if I am, say, going off bushcraft camping or whatever for a weekend, and I have like this and this in my bag, and I get searched because I'm a dreadlock tattooed hippie or whatever, then that would be a legal reason for me to carry them. These are tools for me to go. I'm going camping, I'm going bushcrafting, and these are how I'm going to build my camp. They are tools that I need. Likewise, if you are on private land with permission, or if you have got your own land, if you're lucky enough to have your own land, then again, you're allowed to carry them as they are tools. It would just be exactly the same as someone who was an electrician carrying like a voltmeter or whatever. They'd be classed as the same. And workmen's tools have always been respected since the Middle Ages. So that is how bushcrafters are able to buy and use knives in the UK. But the thing is, you have to be over 18, and that makes me quite sad because where's it gone? This was my first knife. I started Viking reenactment when I was 16, and this was my first knife. So I was doing like Viking reenactment using this on a daily basis when we were doing the historical living. And it was a really, really beautiful tool, and I learned to carve with this. And like, it just kind of seems very unfair that at the age of 16 nowadays, if I'd have wanted to have saved up my money from my Saturday job to go and buy myself, something like this, like the Mora Eldris, really nice, really cheap, like it's really like really tiny blade, that wouldn't be legal for me to go and buy, and I would go and have to buy something that I personally would consider not the best initial knife to give to someone who's wanting to start out in bushcraft. I mean, like, yeah, check out the video that I've posted about what I look for in bushcraft knives. But I really feel for the people. I mean, over the years, you do end up building up a good bushcraft knife collection, and like for me, they are day-to-day tools. They are things that I will use every day, like knives, axes. They're kind of common pieces of off-grid living. But I really do feel for people that are worrying and struggling to get into bushcraft because of their lack of access to the tools. And yeah, and again, I know a lot of 18-year-olds that I would not trust with a knife or an axe. But then my go-to DIY girl, she is 14 and she has got so many skills. And yeah, I think I trust her more than me any day. So, I think that the legal carry is something that I find a bit of a mind-boggling subject, and so I don't really have so much experience of it. Because I do live off grid, because I'm not living in civilization, I don't have to worry about the legalities, because to me these are day-to-day tools. But I think for bushcrafters that would be classed as the same thing. But yeah, so that's my rundown on UK legal knife carry. Unless you're over the age of 18, you are allowed to have a folding knife with a blade of under 3 inches, unless you are using it as a working tool on your own land, on private land, or for a work party or that sort of thing. So yeah, I find that a bit sad. I mean, at the age of 16, I was doing all the Viking reenactment stuff, and this was my present from my granddad, from my grandpa and my parents and my grandma for my 18th birthday present. And yeah, my pa bought me this, and I was fighting, big gnarly hench guys, and say the only injury that I can remember from those years was using a flick knife that I hadn't locked properly. Um, and yeah, so stay safe while you're using your knives. And yeah, those are my views, and check out Mad Dog Survival for anybody who wants an answer to the what is legal everyday carry question. He is the one that I'm going to direct you to that. Awesome. Peace and love.